Your Honor, I stand before you today to honor Charles, my big brother. This courtroom is where Charles finally receives the justice he fought for and never saw in life. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Charles was more than my brother. He was the backbone of our family. He was steady, loyal, and endlessly generous. He was the kind of man who showed up for everyone without ever asking for anything in return. When you walked into the room with Charles, you felt safe, you felt valued, and that's what makes this all so unbearable, because the very person who should have cherished him the most, his own wife, betrayed him in the cruelest, most calculated way imaginable. Charles was a protector by nature, the man who would give you the shirt off his back and then ask what else he could do to help. He loved fiercely, laughed easily, and built his life around the simple but powerful values of family, faith, and hard work. It feels right that this trial comes after those for JJ, Tylee, and Tammy, because he was a true Southern gentleman. I know he would have told us to take care of them first. Lori. First, let me say this. Charles is not your husband. I can't do that.
You have to address the court.
Okay. Sorry. Charles is not your husband. Your disgusting co-monster, Chad, is. The Miss Texas pageant, Wheel of Fortune, Extra on Modern Family, July 31st, 2023. What do they all have in common? They're all days that failed to make you famous or idolized. Infamous? Yes, but never famous, never idolized. You spent your entire life chasing cameras, applause, and validation like oxygen, but here you are, exposed, convicted, stripped of the lies you wrapped yourself in. All your interviews, all your attempts to manipulate, triangulate, and control the narrative, even the one released just last night, have failed. The world sees what I saw in 2019 when you abandoned Charles, Colby, Tylee, and JJ to chase that grotesque shadow of a man, Chad Daybell. You call yourself a mother, a wife, a woman of God. You are none of these things. You are a liar, a fraud, and a murderer. Did you think you could charm your way out of this? Do you believe people can't see through the lies? Do you honestly think that you are smarter, holier, or more special than everyone else? You are not. You are an ordinary, plain, run-of-the-mill, middle-aged woman. You keep saying to anyone who will listen that no one understands because they weren't there. So tell me, Lori, what don't we understand? Was it you who shot Charles? Is that why you kept asking during the trial about testing your hands for gunshot residue? Was that your grotesque way of gloating? You murdered Charles. You confessed to the conspiracy. Do you think we all missed that? You took his phone and played a childish game of keep away and then tried to sell the world that this was a good reason for Alex or you to shoot him. And every single one of us sitting in this courtroom saw right through it. That day started a domino effect, except you tipped the first domino and you kept those dominoes falling until everyone was dead. Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, and the wake of devastation you left for Colby, for our entire families, and for an entire community who watched your evil unfold. You asked me during the trial where I was when Charles was murdered. You asked almost every witness if they were there, or if they saw with their eyes or heard with their ears you and Alex conspiring to murder my brother. No, we weren't, but you're right, as much as I hate to utter those words, and if you are to be believed, neither were you. How dare you desecrate the memory of Charles and your children the way you did their bodies? How dare you blame them for your crimes? We all know what happened, Lori. There is no denying it. We've sat in courtrooms, seen the evidence, seen the wreckage you caused. We have listened to the truth tellers. Nothing is taken out of context. Your land of make-believe is just transparent. The facts and the science don't play games. They tell the truth, how many times Charles was shot, at what angles, and how long he'd been dead before 911 was called. The 47 minutes. Because you were busy trying to manufacture an alibi. Science doesn't lie, you do. Detectives, prosecutors, jurors, advocates, the men and women who had to bear witness to this horror, please stand. Chuck Considas, Eric Wheeler, Ron Ball, Ray Hermosillo. They are from Rexburg, Idaho, and they were key in bringing justice to you. Thank you, guys. These individuals bear the weight of directly confronting your actions. They took that burden home to their spouses, children, and sleepless nights. They endured tragedy. You didn't just take our loved ones. You sparked a tragedy that now affects countless families. They understand. They were there, and they worked tirelessly to bring you to justice. Chandler PD never believed your bullshit. They didn't charge you immediately because they were busy untangling your web of deception. So you can continue making claims that no one understands because we weren't there. But make no mistake, we stand perfectly. We understand premeditation. We understand conspiracy. We understand fraud, insurance policies, and false alibis. We understand how long bodies lay in the ground while you danced, vacationed, and manipulated for attention. We understand the cost, emotional, financial, spiritual, that all of us have paid to clean up the wreckage of your delusion. Therapy, lost work, trauma, panic attacks, courtrooms and funerals, ashes and empty chairs. You are so selfish, so pathologically self-centered that you can't even see the shockwaves you created in every life around you. Webster's dictionary defines tragedy as a disastrous event. What happened to my family is precisely that, a series of disastrous events, each one engineered by you. You and Chad built a religion of narcissism, two people drunk on the fantasy of being special, chosen, above the law, above humanity itself. You labeled people as dark to justify murder. You wrapped evil in scripture and called it faith. You and Chad murdered your children and spouses and then hid behind a veil of lies. You are not exalted. You are not translated. You are a manipulator, a parasite, and a coward. You have no remorse. Your deflection is disgusting. Your interviews are manipulative. Your faith is counterfeit. You still talk as if you're somehow misunderstood. No, wrong. You're fully understood. We see who you are, a manipulator, a liar, and a destroyer. And the worst thing is, Charles loved you. He protected you, and you repaid him with betrayal and bullets. You left him dead on the floor and then went shopping for flip-flops and a new life with your apocalyptic con man. You tried to erase him, stealing his phone, twisting the narrative, and lying to anyone who would listen. But the truth doesn't lie, Lori, and now the truth has destroyed you. Lori, you have noticed this courtroom is full. It's not because people admire you. It's not because they see instrument in God's hands. It's because you're a sideshow freak, a murderous carnival act. People come to gawk at the monster who thinks she's divine. They don't come to honor you. They come to witness the wreckage of your delusion and to see justice crush it. You've always wanted an audience, but this audience isn't here to adore you. They are here to watch you fall, to watch you stripped of the spotlight you crave, to see your false crown ripped away. You are not a goddess. You are not chosen. You are not powerful. You just thought you could play God and win. The only legacy you leave is this: you will be remembered not as an instrument of God, but as a pitiful cautionary tale of evil and narcissism. Your life will end behind concrete and steel while the world outside remembers JJ's smile, Tylee's strength, Charles's kindness, and Tammy's light. You will be forgotten, except as the sideshow act you've made of yourself, a monster who wanted to be worshipped, but who will only ever be pitied. But the legacy of Charles, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy is here in this courtroom, a new type of family built on love. Colby and his family, Tammy's family, the men and women who battled evil, all of us united, because as Charles said, love always wins. Finally, I want to say this. You once claimed that no one could judge you because they weren't there. Today, everyone is here. The court is here. Justice is here. And now judgment has arrived. May this sentence be as permanent as the graves you filled.
I think Kay has a letter she's reading.
Okay.
Hi, Judge Boreski. My name is JJ Vallow. I can't be here today to read this letter because I am dead. I was murdered by the defendant, Vallow Daybell, or as I used to call her, Mom. See, there are a whole lot of tragedies that have happened to my family, and all of them are the result of my mom's actions. See, my daddy was the first of the dominoes to fall. The day he was murdered, everything good in my world started to crumble. Actually, that's not true. It started before then. It started when she met her co-conspirator, Chad. She abandoned me for 72 days in early 2019. My daddy, Charles, was there for every bit of it. He tried so hard to keep me on my schedule. See, I have autism, and that isn't a bad thing. It just means that I needed extra attention and routines because my brain and my body had more energy than you could ever imagine. To help you understand, it might help to tell you about myself. I went to a really cool school and special school called Lawrence Academy. It's Lawrence Institute for Education. And I loved it. I loved my teachers and my classmates. They understood me so well, and I just thrived there. I was able to go to that school because my dad worked so hard and provided me a special education because I am a special boy. I had a best four-legged friend ever, Bailey, my service dog. Bailey went everywhere with me and kept me calm and safe. I loved Bailey so much, but Lori got rid of Bailey after my dad was murdered, but before she murdered me and Tylee. See, my world crumbled without my dad. Without him to protect me, everything changed. She took me out of my school and told my teachers that my dad committed suicide. She told them on my last day of school. She told me too. I cried all day and just kept saying, my dad's not dead, my dad's not dead, with tears rolling down my face. And I missed my dad. Now I had lost Bailey, my school, And now my sad wasn't just on my dad wasn't just on a business trip anymore. He was dead. Then within the next few days, it got worse. We moved. All of a sudden, I was at Colby's, my big brother's work, telling him goodbye. I couldn't go play with my cousins at Brandon's house anymore. Braxy and Bridie were taken away too. My aunts, uncles, brothers, grandparents, teachers, friends at school, my mama and papa, and Ashlyn, and everything that I knew was gone, all because my dad couldn't protect me anymore. He was my best friend. I loved my dad more than I can ever explain. Lori caused the next tragedy in my family, too, the next domino to fall. There was one thing I had left, was my big sister, Tylee. She murdered her, too. She murdered her on September 8th of 2019, just 59 days after my dad was murdered. Days after she ripped my world apart and took me away from everyone and everything that made me feel safe and secure. Then on September 23rd, 2019, she murdered me. Lori took my dad away. She took away the best man, the protector of me and Tylee. I am dead because she killed him. He never would have let her hurt me, and I know he died protecting me. He took 6 years for me to be able to have a voice, to be here to say what the death of my dad did to me. I am not a domino that fell in her life. I am Joshua Jackson Vallow. I am the son of Charles Vallow. I should be 13 years old now, but I'm forever 7. The impact of my father's death was my murder. And Judge, it is 13 years today that JJ's adoption was finalized, and they moved him immediately right away to Hawaii. And I hope you remember that. I trusted you!